On the other side of things, we do have players leaving Ohio State. It's a sad day. We knew it was going to happen. Some of them are out of eligibility, or else they probably would be back. That said, I want to hear if there are any Buckeyes that you guys think would be a good fit for the Browns. There are a lot of directions that this can go, but I want to hear your takes. Noah, I'm going to let you start again, so you can stop complaining. Tell me, who do you want to see, if anybody, on the Browns from Ohio State?
Yeah, I think it's important, real quick, to touch on all of the players that are eligible for the draft for Ohio State. We have Josh Simmons, the offensive lineman, went out early this season. Really like him for the Browns. We'll get to that in a second. John Judkins, running back. We all know who he is. We all love him. Jordan Hancock, cornerback. We have Denzel Burke entered the draft. Emeka Mbuka, Donovan Jackson, Ty Hamilton, G. Scott, Tyleek Williams, and
Big boy.
Of course, Will Howard and Travion Henderson.
Will Howard, yeah. And don't forget, I didn't mention him, but Sonny Styles is also returning and is aiming for a captainship in 2025. I thought that was kind of cool.
So, yeah, in my opinion, go ahead, John.
Yeah, I was just going to say the only people your list is good. I think what we're learning about the Buckeyes is, first of all, Eric, you're right. You're like, oh, it's kind of sad that they're leaving. But one thing that I've learned over the years is that they retool. I remember being salty that Maurice Clarett was gone, and then we got Lydell Ross and Antonio Pittman and Beanie Wells, and then being like, who's this Boom Herring guy? And then next thing you know, we had Carlos Hyde, Ezekiel Elliott, and J.K. Dobbins. Like, they just keep getting good players. Trey Sermon, Travion Henderson just kept the whole thing rolling. So we'll find somebody to
it, but go on.
What did you say?
Sermon was solid.
Sermon wasn't it, I said.
Yeah, you should go back and YouTube his highlight reel. I think just because it was 1 year, he didn't get the run that some of these 2 and 3 year guys did. He was pretty impressive in the year he played, but
I'll give you that. You know what? I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Master Teague.
Yeah, Master Teague.
Master Teague was not it.
Because he just
fantastic football name.
Yeah,
fantastic name. He would hit as a power guy. He'd hit as hard as anybody. But you know how we talk about backs running downfield? Master Teague ran uphill. He just, when you're used to Zeke and all those names you just named. Anyway, go on.
No, I mean, literally, Master Teague, who I loved because he played for 4 years, even though he never got to what we thought he could be. He was like that devoted backup for the whole time. And Mike Weber, there's like the only 2 running backs in the last 20 years where I was like, meh, okay. But I would take some of the other defenders. You didn't talk about Captain Jack, did you, Noah? Tuiamola?
Yeah, there were a few names that I bounced around, but yes, 100%.
Because after watching for a long time, I thought, okay, you're good in college, doesn't necessarily translate. There's a couple Buckeyes who are like the Chris Gambles and the stuff. You're like, they were pretty good in pro, but they weren't quite there. And then there was like Ryan Shazier, and you saw some of these guys come out, and I'm at a point now where I'm like, anybody who's good enough to be captain of an Ohio State defense is good enough for the Browns, especially at a position where we haven't had a linebacker make the Pro Bowl since Jameer Miller. I mean, like, anybody in the front.
Jack?
Yeah, Jack and.
Yeah, I don't mean any disrespect because I love Jack Sawyer. Take his heart out and put it in any other player, but he didn't do shit until the Michigan game. Where's he been the last 4 years?
Jack Sawyer?
I would take Jack Sawyer for sure, just because he didn't pass your eye test. Like Myles Garrett doesn't pass your eye test, Eric. Doesn't mean he doesn't apply to being a good NFL player. He's a second round edge all day in this draft.
He's had 3.5, 4 incredible games. He did not do what the Bosa brothers did. He didn't do what Chase Young did. I mean,
you're talking about
the guy, but
you're talking about borderline like Hall of Fame talents, though. Like
exactly.
We're talking about fits on the ground. We're not asking for the next franchise player.
We're talking about practice.
We're talking about getting Myles Garrett help as the number 2 rusher. So when they double team him, somebody who could beat a single team.
And how did that work the last several years where we got him help is my point. I just think there's bigger needs on the team.
It worked well, and then we kept getting rid of people.
You're talking about a second.
Great.
Listen, I'd like to cover some of this for a second. There are 3 players on this list of names that I think I'd really like to see for the Cleveland Browns. One, Simmons, the tackle that got hurt. I think
Yep.
he is a fantastic size player. He would be a great plug and play anywhere on this offensive line outside of center. I think he would make a lot of sense, especially in a scenario where the Browns are trading back from 2. When we say we fall between 8 and 12 for some reason in a trade and we get a bunch of draft capital, what have you. I'm not saying that I agree with that take, Eric, before you get all grumpy. I'm just saying this is one of the thoughts I have.
I'm
You
just
took
so
a big,
tired of the Browns.
yeah. Well,
I
It's
mean,
not
they'll
you,
fuck it
it's the
up.
Browns.
Yeah, they'll fuck it up. You know who else, Noah? I can't remember the kid's name. We've talked about him twice. We had a guy who was the preseason #1 offensive lineman in America, and he got hurt way
Oh, went
early.
down too.
And he was like the
yeah.
premier center in all of college football and didn't play like damn near a snap this year. But unless he forgot how to play, we need offensive line help. Would you take an All-American center on the
Seth
offensive line?
McLaughlin.
Now, I'm
Yeah,
not talking
McLaughlin.
about Noah always goes to, which I love. Noah always goes to how it would look in the draft, where we would take these people. I just went with who played on Ohio State this year, who, if they played for the Browns next year, makes you happy at that position. And this guy is definitely that.
Well,
What do you guys
is
feel
he?
about-
I don't think McLaughlin's declaring, and he tore his Achilles. That's not an injury that I necessarily want to draft.
Again,
Yeah,
I didn't
that's
say
fair.
I didn't say at #2 in the first round, but if in the 7th round pick you get an All-American center with the offensive line that was Swiss cheese for most of the year, I think you take it.
Let me ask you guys this. How do you guys, because this is a player I'm high on, especially in our 3rd round. We have 2 picks there. Well, both of the next players I'll talk about are 3rd rounders in my mind. Travion Henderson, how do you guys feel about him as a Cleveland Brown?
I like Travion. I think we need running back help. The problem with this team is that you can say just about any unit, you go, well, we need a guy there. Well, yeah, we could use a kicker. Like, yep, we could use an O-line.
Right.
Like, you can't go wrong, kind of. Will he make an impact day one? I've said all year that I felt like he was a better back with Quinshon Judkins coming in. We talked about it. Coach Day actually asked him whether or not Judkins coming, like how he felt, and he agreed to bring him in. But I felt like that competition propelled Travion's game to higher heights, or maybe he was just going to be there anyway, and it was just he needed to age into that. So I think he's a good back. Will he fit on the Cleveland Browns? Sure, plug him in. Will his career be okay on the Cleveland Browns? I don't know. That's a different question. It depends who's under center.
I think he's got to go someplace like a Darren Sproles and play a turf, quick hit, fast guy kind of offense. I think the Browns in the AFC North do too much running between the tackles. Travion Henderson is going to be a phenomenal talent, I think, in the pros, but he's a little small for the Browns. I see him someplace like Arizona or New Orleans or Tampa Bay. You know what I mean? Like,
He has a
See,
Chubb running style, though.
I'm not no
Exactly, and
shade,
this
man.
is
This dude
why
is a
I-
stud, but
This is why I disagree with the counterpoints on him because, Eric, for example, you were talking about Judkins coming in and him blossoming as a player, right? Well, the odds are that Nick Chubb's still going to be a running back on this roster in 2025. So you have, and yes, Chubb wasn't 100% himself when we saw him and he got hurt again, but you have Chubb and Henderson as a 1-2 punch. I know Jerome Ford can be a sore topic in terms of the NFL and the Cleveland Browns, but he has shown the ability to be a 3rd down running back in passing situations in the NFL. It's a pretty good running back room in my mind. And you continue to groom and raise Travion Henderson into being that bell cow back after a year or 2 with Nick Chubb.
he could also
sorry,
just
but I
flat
gotta
out gain
disagree with
25
you
pounds
that
and muscle over the offseason and just be the size that we need him to be. You never know.
Amen.
I gotta disagree with you in one take, and that is that I love the guy, but Nick Chubb is not the same running back. He's not gonna be the same running back.
You don't need him to be when you have 2 running backs, though. That's the point.
Well, when we had two, when they were both good, him and Mr. Super Bowl, who for some reason, I'm talking about Kareem Hunt, of course, Stefanski does not like, or I don't understand still to this day. That was a great one too as well. I don't know. I think I hate to say it, but I don't mind bringing Chubb back on a veteran minimum kind of situation, but
That's what it'll be
his
for
best
sure.
football is behind him.
I think of Travion Henderson as an Alvin Kamara-like prospect.
That's
Same
what I think.
size, similar running style, pass catching ability through the roof. We saw that in the national championship. We saw it in the Cotton Bowl. I almost said the Sugar Bowl. We're flipping all the games around today. I just really like him as a prospect in terms of coming in, being a second fringe first guy with whatever's going on with Nick Chubb next year. You let him learn, you let him develop, and who knows, he could end up being the guy by the end of the year because you see that happen in the NFL all the time. The guy who's the starter gets overtaken by the rookie.
Listen, I think it'd be
I am
great,
worried
but you
about
kind of made John's point in your comparison to a turf guy in a dome.
Yeah. I mean, Alvin Kamara was literally the reason I put the Saints on the list with like the Cardinals and the Bucks. The other thing I will say though, with the nerves about his size, and I'll give you a really, really, really apples to apples example. J.K. Dobbins, fast as shit, shifty, thought he would make a great pro, and when the man was healthy and is healthy, he looks phenomenal. And he was never healthy because you play in the AFC North and you're 5'11" and 190 pounds. And it just doesn't work at running back. I think he's got to go someplace else for offense that fits him.
That's fair. It's totally fair take.
If he runs 25 times a game between the tackles, he's going to die. He'll make it to week 4, and that'll be it.
Imagine a 1-2 punch with him and what's his name in Detroit. It could
Gibbs
be an interesting landing spot.
Yeah,
that's a problem.
That whole team's still a problem, even though they lost in their first game this year. I want to bounce another prospect off you guys real quick that I am high on in terms of being a fit for the Cleveland Browns. Do you guys have any guesses on who I'm about to bring up?
Will Howard, check and check. I'm all there with you.
Okay, so Will Howard.
Wait a minute. You're all in on Will Howard to be quarterback for the Browns, and I was taking shit for saying Jack could play opposite.
Hold on. No. I'm all in drafting Will Howard and developing him.
Oh, okay.
I didn't say playing his core. I'm not sticking him in there week 1.
Yeah.
Or any week. I hope he doesn't play a single. I hope he plays garbage time.
Are you going to say Jalen Fielding?
No, I was going to say Will Howard.
Oh, because we need a kicker too.
Jake
Ruggles is probably out there somewhere.
Anyway.
Jaden, I think.
Regardless, John, how do you feel about Will Howard, man? Because I feel I have a comparison to be an asshole, but I'll wait until I hear both of your guys' takes first.
If you say Baker Mayfield, I'm going to kill you.
No, Will Howard's 6'5", Baker Mayfield's all of 5'10", but continue.
That's what I was going to tell you. That was not he's probably 6 feet. Give him a break.
6 feet if he's got the cleats on and he's standing on concrete, not in the grass, with a hat on, with a lifted hat lid like both of you guys are wearing right now. He might just scratch the 6 feet.
I know. I'm 6'5" today.
Number 3 passer in the league this year, wasn't he? Anyway, we digress. We don't need to go back down that road. I wouldn't mind Will Howard, but I don't want him as the answer. If you say our quarterback room is the same as it is now and all we added was Will Howard, we're going to stink again. He's a nice development project. He's better than DTR, I think. I'd rather see him maybe back than even the Jameis Winston, but like he can't be the starter coming out of training camp. He's got to be a clipboard holder and a backup project like DTR sort of is, and then you got to get somebody else to start. But yes, if he's your backup quarterback coming out of camp next year or a scrappy third stringer, yes, I would like to see Will Howard here next year, just not starting.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree with
the exact same.
I agree with all of your guys' sentiments. You got to bring in someone. Are you about to say Kirk Cousins, Eric?
Yeah, bring in Kirk. Let him develop. Trade DTR to Baltimore. Let's get him out of Cleveland.
So I want to give you guys a comparison just to be that guy. Will Howard.
Yes.
Yeah. Who do you think I'm going to compare him to?
Tim Couch.
No, Noah's too young for Tim Couch.
That's fair.
Well, hey, I got a new Tim Couch bobblehead, by the way. I shouldn't say
hey, we didn't ask about the bobblehead. We asked about comparisons.
I think you're gonna say,
Well, that's all the time we have for the show tonight. Thanks for joining us.
You could guess too, Jonathan.
I guessed twice.
Tim Couch and then who?
I said Baker Mayfield and Tim Couch.
Oh,
Joe
okay, go ahead.
Flacco. Who's the guy in San Diego?
I'm just gonna
blanking.
stop you there because my comparison is one Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco,
Okay.
6'6", 245. Will Howard, 6'5", 235. Similar arm talents. I think they both fit the Shanahan Stefanski style. Did I say Shanahan?
You
Yes,
did.
But I meant Stefanski style offense perfectly in terms of the play action and the different things that a quarterback with their size, stature, and arm would be good at. I love him as a developmental piece behind a guy like maybe Joe Flacco. Bring Flacco back. I don't care.
Can I just ask, where's that best take chain? Because John's over here giving me shit for thinking for a second, but I nailed it on my first go.
I'll ship it
I
to
had a
you
week
in the
and a half.
mail.
I'd have nailed it too.
Are there any other guys you're thinking? Those were the three I wanted to touch on. I wasn't trying to completely take this over here, but those are three guys that I really would not mind seeing in the Cleveland Browns, depending on draft circumstance and stuff like that.
I'd love to see JTT a linebacker next year. We don't have any great linebackers. I think that would be a great fit. Again, not at number 2.
Eric, you got to remember that there's 7 rounds in the draft.
I know. I will tell you what I don't want to see, and that is I don't want to see any Ohio State player go to Pittsburgh because they nail the pick every single time, and then you have Cam Hayward there for 20 years, and that'll frustrate the hell out of me. So if you think Pittsburgh's going to draft the Ohio State player, I think we should just move up and take whoever they were thinking.
And don't forget about Shazier. He would still be driving you crazy too, except for that awful injury.
For sure.
I like your picks, Noah. I don't know. I mean, yeah, will I get behind a Captain Jack coming on the Browns? That'd be freaking fantastic. But I've seen nothing so far from the front office. What is our plan at quarterback? Like, what are we doing?
It's too early to tell right now, man.
I want to know now, damn it.
Well, you don't
calling
get it
plays.
Now. We still have a whole NFL draft to break down. We're only at the Senior Bowl right now. Brother.
I know, but Noah,
and
I know
the
you
only
talked
pick
about
that matters
this.
is the first pick if they still think they're contenders, and that's what we really still don't know. They're
John, do you
every time
do you
they
hear
get
us?
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
Every time they shit, now I lost the thread.
Sorry.
Oh, every time the I have no idea what I was gonna say. Go ahead, E.
I kind of lost my thought too.
We were talking about quarterback answers and how Eric wants to know if Kirk Cousins is the starter or Jack Sawyer is going to start at quarterback right now. And yes, I said Jack Sawyer on purpose.
The thing that I was thinking was you have to know whether you're competing or not. The Browns front office keeps saying we don't have to blow it up and start over. And if they think this is a team that can still be in a Super Bowl window, you got to take somebody in the first and second round that could start and help. And then you think you're going to get a quarterback who can take you there. If they're rebuilding, my whole mindset changes, and we don't know which of those two it is yet.
I want to say, and I don't want to spend too much time on this because I know Noah and Matt talked about it on Monday, but I have changed my tune, and I am all here and all for Kevin Stefanski calling plays again. And I know the article that you guys went and read that I wrote on Fan First Sports said the complete opposite. But that press conference made me a believer because this is a guy that's making jokes. This is a guy that feels light. This is a guy that's putting the pressure on his shoulders when he knows if they stagnate again, he's probably gone. I'm here for it.
And they say the sign of a great offensive coordinator is lightness and jokes.
Well, we're going to find out, aren't we?
Gentlemen, the Guardians can be a fan favorite off of running off of friendship and vibes for 10 straight seasons or however long it's been, 40 plus, really, ever since John was in his 20s or whatever. The Cleveland Browns can do the same damn thing, damn it. Let's go 7-10 and have a great time.
You're forgetting one little piece of the Guardians/Indians, friendship, vibes, and the playoffs.
Yeah.
And the Browns are missing that kind of crucial last part.
That's
except
fair.
for twice in my lifetime.